Hello, everyone. Well, as we're approaching 6 months since the graduation of our first class, the class of 2020, our inaugural class, I'm proud to have with us today Dr. Joya Singh. Joya is now at her residency, and we thought this would be a good time to catch up with several of our residents to see how they're doing, get some advice from them and some reflections back at their time here at the college. So, Joya, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I can't believe it's already been 6 months. It definitely doesn't feel like it. The other day I was thinking about it and I'm a quarter of the way through my intern year and it's incredible.
Yeah. Well, that it's great to see you, and you're at a
Thank you.
fantastic place. So, why don't
Yeah.
you tell us a little bit about where you're at your residency and a few of the first initial highlights in these first six
Yeah.
months?
Sure, I'd love to. So I'm training at the University of Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas. It's a large academic hospital, and our primary training site is Parkland County Hospital. Parkland means a lot to me as a Dallas County resident because we serve all the Dallas County residents here, and we have an incredible financial infrastructure in place for our residents who don't have health insurance or are underinsured. So anyone that walks in through the doors of our ED, we're more than prepared to not only take care of them acutely while they're in our department, but we can also set them up with primary care as an outpatient, which is very important to me as a physician because we're taking care of them long term and we're making sure that our patients have follow up after. But one of the reasons I chose my program, other than because I'm a Dallas County resident as well, is because Parkland Emergency Department has the highest volume ED in the entire country. I think for like seventh or fourth or fifth year in a row now, we have 250,000 visits annually. So it's a lot of patients. We have a massive emergency department. Our faculty are incredible. They come from all over the country. Definitely has been a privilege and a blessing to be able to train here.
Well, that's terrific, and you're right. I mean, being a former hospital CEO, that medical center is well known, well regarded, highly
Mhm.
ranked medical school, highly ranked. So you're just around just a terrific,
Yeah,
terrific environment. So, congratulations to you for this
thank you.
accomplishment because, as we all know, it's competitive to get
Yeah,
into residencies, and you landed one of the top, emergency room residencies in the country. So that's
thank
awesome.
you.
Yeah. So, when you think back to your 4 years here
Mhm.
at the Burrell College, what are a couple things that come to mind that really helped prepare you, whether it's academically, mentally, you know, what kind of comes to mind? What helped you leading up to this point?
So several different things. One of the most important things was definitely being at a new school, learning how to change and adapt to dynamic situations and environments. Definitely prepared me well for residency. Knowing that I was coming from a new school, knowing that I'd have to work even harder, be more competitive, kind of do more than what an average med student would do, I think really pushed me to do very well at BCom. I started several organizations there. I was involved in leadership there. And I think being at a new school really opened up those doors for me. And I'm very thankful for BCom for that. Some of the other things that also helped me out was mentorship. Dr. Cyrus was my assigned mentor for BCom. He gave me this pen after graduation, which I still use. Very sweet. But
That's
so
awesome.
Dr. Cyrus always, he always just like opened his doors to his home, to his mentees. And I think having a faculty member there, knowing that they cared about me, not only as a student, but also as an individual, and creating that support system and having someone I could always talk to if I ever had a question, helped me a lot too throughout my medical school journey. And finally, the kind of medical education we get, especially at an osteopathic school, including at BCom, I think is very valuable for medical students compared to our allopathic counterparts that train at large academic centers like Parkland Hospital and UT Southwestern. We get a lot of one-on-one training with our attendings. And so I was working one-on-one with the general surgery attending, with my internal medicine, infectious disease, all of them. And they really took me under their wings when I showed my enthusiasm and interest. And that helped me become very confident in my abilities, in my knowledge, just in my presentation skills as well. And I think that's incredibly important as an intern, just to be comfortable in your own skin, not to be able to take criticism well. And I think the osteopathic education, and more so the BCom education, really helped me gain that comfortable, helped me become more comfortable and gain that confidence once I became an intern.
Well, that's great to hear, and and obviously it's great to hear you compliment Dr. Cyrus. He's one of our very best, and just to also emphasize the importance of mentorship, to all of our faculty, how critically important that is. Here you are at UT Southwestern, and you're looking back, and you're recognizing the impact that one physician had on you professionally, motivation wise, mentally. And so that's a great message that we can all the faculty and the staff here can, it's a great message on that. So we have our 5th class. We're having our white coat ceremony tomorrow.
Wow.
Virtually, just like your first graduation was
Yeah.
virtually the pandemic. Yeah. It's hard to believe we have our 5th class coming, but the students that might be watching this when we air this, what advice would you give to them? Top, say 2 or 3 things to get them mentally prepared, academically prepared to compete for a residency position.
Absolutely. So I would say first and foremost, always try to be the most competitive applicant you can, the most competitive version of yourself, right? So you're not competing with I was going to say co-residents. I meant you're not competing with your classmates. You're not competing with each other. You're trying to be the best version of yourself possible. And that's what I always kept in mind all throughout medical school. I tried to just do the best that I could do and push myself harder, just according to my own standards. Get involved in leadership and extracurricular activities. Not only does that make med school more enjoyable and keep you grounded in your mission of why you wanted to become a physician, but it also helps you look great in residency. When ERAS and residency application season comes around, I got asked about my extracurricular stuff all the time, and I had med played very full when I was in med school, but all of those experiences I was very passionate about and meant a lot to me. So find something that you love to do and focus on that, and really add a different dimension to your medical school application and your experience that way. The second really important thing is, like President Hummer mentioned, always look for mentors. Luckily, BCom assigned Dr. Cyrus to us, and I was very lucky to have such a great mentor. But when I was a 3rd year, I also sought out Dr. Suresh Antony as my mentor. I published a lot of research papers with him, did plenty of research and got involved that way as well. Always keeping your mind open to academic curiosity. I had no desire to do infectious diseases. I knew I always wanted to be an ER doc, but I published a lot of papers in infectious diseases because I was just curious and I wanted to learn more about things that I knew would affect all of our patients. And so seeking out a mentor during 3rd year is also important as well. And so Dr. Antony helped fulfill that for sure. And if you're able to seek out mentors in emergency medicine, Dr. Hayes was a great resource for me at BCom as well. And he was able to help me prepare since 1st year of medical school to get ready to apply for emergency medicine. And so if you have the opportunity to seek mentors in other academic programs, you can do that. I went to any conferences that I could go to in emergency medicine, and anytime any attending came and said, "Hey, let me know if I can help you with anything," that was my window to get in. Email them, follow up, and say, "Hey, I'm very interested. These are the reasons I love emergency medicine. Can I please keep in touch with you?" You'd be surprised how many people want to help you succeed. And I think if I hadn't done that, I don't know if I'd be able to match into my dream program. I used every door that was open for me. I walked right through it. I took advantage of it. And so I would encourage all of you to do the same. And always, the number one thing is always have a positive attitude and be optimistic. Anytime you struggle with anything BCom related, don't let that bring you down. Every school has its ups and downs. Every school has positives and negatives. Really focus on the strengths of our school, which is the fact that our faculty are just there to love us and support us. And you won't really get that at a lot of different places, and really take advantage of that.
Well, Joya, thank you so much. That's terrific advice, and thank you for sharing that. Just two quick questions here at the end. Sure. Outside of the academics, I know that when you think of Las Cruces, you probably the top of the list of what you missed the most is staying up all night studying for a test. But outside of that, when you think of the community in the area, what do you miss about the community here?
Oh man, like we were talking the other day, I was talking to my family the other day about how much I miss Las Cruces. So initially when I got there, very different from Dallas where I grew up. Sorry, we have a patient coming up. Um, very, so very different from Dallas where I grew up. But I really just miss the quietness of Las Cruces as we have all this commotion going on up here. I miss the small community. I miss the feeling of just going to buy groceries and it's right down the street and you're not battling a bunch of people at the grocery stores. I miss not being in traffic all the time. I miss the fact that when I would go to a coffee shop in Las Cruces and they asked me what I was studying for and I told them I go to Burrell, they're like, oh, that's the new school that's down the street. And so just that sense of community you don't really get in a larger city or anywhere else. And Las Cruces particularly has that warm, welcoming community that I definitely miss. And of course, I can't forget the Oregon mountains that drive to school every morning with the mountains as the backdrop. Like, man, that's unbeatable. And I definitely took that for granted while I was there.
That's great. And, I have to ask this last question because you remember, you heard the governor who gave the keynote speech to your class.
Yeah.
And so if the opportunity ever arose to come back in this area, this region, to practice emergency medicine, would you seriously look at that and look at that opportunity?
Absolutely. So my significant other, Mikhail De Jesus, he's an internal medicine resident at the University of Connecticut, and he wants to do interventional cardiology. And him and I always talk about how nice it would be to come back to BCom once we're a little bit older after we've been practicing for a while and teach at BCom and also work in Las Cruces as well. I know that the area is very underserved. I would be more than happy to come back someday and work in Las Cruces and in the Southwest area for sure. BCom has given so much to us and it gave us both an opportunity to fulfill our dreams, and we'd be very happy to come back and give back to our school someday.
That's terrific to hear. And, we're going to stay in touch with you and all of your fellow graduates that you graduated with. And we're going to be launching our first alumni newsletter coming out, in November, and keep that updated and keep track of where everybody's at and stories and, life events outside of medicine, marriages, births, climbing Mount Everest, whatever happens, things that we all learn from. But I just want to thank you. I mean, you're busy as a resident, and to take the time today. I know you did another video shoot as well, kind of the day in the life of a resident for us.
I did, yeah.
So that's really nice of you. So again, I just want to thank you again and just wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you so much, President Hammer. It was really nice catching up with you.